What is one thing I guess I should say for the 2024 season? Baseball, I feel like you learn something new each year. What did you learn after this year in Baltimore?
Well, this year was just so much different than the year before because of the amount of injuries we had.
Yeah.
And, we knew we weren't going to have Felix all year. But then when you lose starting pitchers, when you lose versatile infielders and good players like Westberg and Mateo, key bullpen pieces like Webb and Coulomb that were kind of like your go-to guys when kind of game was tight and you wanted to get through the middle innings to give it to the fellows at the back end. Just having to deal with that, dealing with the amount of picking up the pieces when you're in first place or 2 games out of first place and really grinding and competing and trying to win series with not a full deck. It feels like a lot of time.
Yeah, and that was the case. And actually, despite all that, you guys still were the first team in the American League to 70 wins, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty good despite all of it. And I think that things do add up after a while.
Yeah.
And even for guys in demeanor, even it's I don't want to say it's a snowball effect, but kind of it is. If one thing goes wrong, then another. And then guys, if they are trying to string together good at bats, it's also the opposite. If things aren't going well, that can be contagious.
Right.
And I remember talking to O'Hearn about it. I've talked to even Seti. Just seemed like that down the stretch. It was, all right, things are stuck in the mud, but wasn't for the lack of effort, wasn't for the lack of trying to make something happen, but it was constantly trying to fight this. Is a fog a good way to describe it? Or not a fog, but you're like, all right, it's just every time you feel like you're taking a breath of fresh air, trying to sigh of relief, something else happened. You go, great. It's another obstacle.
We just didn't click offensively the second half. And I think there's multiple reasons for that. I think, but I did feel like the last week of the season, the last 2 series, our at-bats got back to where we were in the first half.
Doubt.
We're sort of looking like it. And, I felt like that was going to be maybe a positive thing going into the postseason was where the last week I thought Adley was having better at-bats. Gunnar was doing his thing. O was swinging the bat well. Mountie was healthy. I thought like we could be dangerous in the playoffs if we kind of continued those. Said had a good second half and was swinging the bat much better the last couple months. So I was hoping it'd roll into the playoffs. It just we ran into Reagan's the first game and
he's a stud.
Yeah, so good. It's 99 left-handed. And that's an area too that we need to improve on too, is against left-handed pitching and left-handed quality pitching and that's been kind of the last couple of years. That's one area where we could have improved on.